everybody, and welcome back. Good to talk to all of you again today, and today we are going to take a preview of this Tier 7 Royal Navy battleship, the Nelson. She is going to be World of Warships' second free XP ship after the Missouri. Now, from what I've seen so far, it should require 375,000 free experience to unlock her. But is she worth it? Well, before I get started, first let me say that this is still a work in progress ship. Everything that I show you can and will change potentially. And of course, the ship was provided by Wargaming for testing purposes. So, let's get going. Nelson, Tier 7 ship. Let's talk about her armor first because the armor is something that I'm not too fond about the Nelson. So take a look, and you'll see why. Being a Tier 7 battleship, the Nelson, of course, does have the 25mm bow only, which means that the bow can be overmatched. That alone isn't the biggest problem because, you know, you could in theory still angle the ship, still use the belt to bounce and things like that, but the Nelson, well, you'll see why. She has this kind of flaw, where the citadel is above water. Now, this does make her kind of iffy to play because what you have to do is really kind of try to angle in this kind of way where you are maximizing the auto bounce potential on the belt while at the same time making sure that the armor piece behind the bow, which will be overmatched, is at least somewhat angled as well. It's not the easiest thing to do, and I've been citadeled by pretty much anything that can overmatch me through the bows. So Nelson, in that sense, the armor is a little bit iffy. On top of that, her torpedo protection is pretty weak, only at 19% stock. So Nelson, protection-wise, I would say she's not really the best ship out there. However, she does have other things going for her. One of them being the fact that look at where all the firepower is. All 9 guns are forward, and you can fire all 9 guns while remaining somewhat angled as well. For the Nelson, it only takes about 25 degrees in order to get all of her turrets out and firing. However, do keep in mind that, you know, that's only in relation to a ship that's dead forward of it, right? And if you're coming from the side, of course, she's got to show a bit more, and that's kind of where I didn't like her all that much. You do sometimes have to show a little bit more of that side belt armor, you know, the one with the raised citadel, if you want to get all 3 gun turrets out, which is a little bit dangerous. So a lot of times you are really just going to be sticking with the forward 2 and bringing out the 3rd one when you really need it. Now, speaking of the guns themselves, reload time 30 seconds, very standard, 180 degree turn time 45 seconds, not bad. Dispersion is where the Nelson shines. She's got that Royal Navy battleship dispersion, which is very, very nice, mind you. And of course, combined with a sigma value of 1.9 means that you are going to see those nice tight groupings of shells with the Nelson. HE shell damage, who cares about the HE shell damage, but fire chance is actually pretty good at 46%. AP shells, well, the AP shells are on the Nelson are a little bit meh. In terms of penetration values, they're actually among some of the worst, I think, if I remember correctly, out of the 406mm guns and above. But, you know, in terms of damage and everything, it's kind of okay, 12,000 damage. Firing range is a little bit short at 18.2, but hell, in the game, a lot of times your engagements are going to be in, you know, lower ranges than that, so it's perfectly okay. Initial AP shell velocity is good, however, you do have relatively light shells, hence, you know, and poor crop values, hence why your penetration's a little bit iffy. Still, you know, they are 406mm, which means they will overmatch other Tier 7 bows, so that's good. And the damage number isn't that bad, and of course, with a tight dispersion, damage output should be quite good as well. Secondary guns. You have some secondary guns, but really don't count on them, right? You've got 6 of these single 120mm ones, which are the only ones that fire HE. The other ones fire AP, but who the heck really cares about that? Because they're kind of meh in terms of performance. They're all like sort of situated at the back as well, which means that you're really not going to be seeing them do all that much unless you either get into A, close quarters, or B, you're running away from stuff and you're hoping your secondary guns can do a little bit of something. But yeah, in my experiences playing with the ship, these guns really haven't been doing all that much. Alright, speaking about AA, she has some AA, but really don't count on it. This AA setup it's not really going to save you if a CV decides to have a hard-on for you. So, yeah, that's not happening. Maneuverability-wise, max speed 24 knots, reasonably fast for a Tier 7 battleship, but nothing really to write home about. Turning circular radius of 750 is okay. It's not bad. Rudder shift time, 14.9 seconds stock. You can throw on a rudder shift, and she does turn pretty well. But do keep in mind, she is a relatively long ship as well. You know, so yeah, torpedo dodging, while doable, can sometimes be a little bit annoying. You know, long ships just find it annoying because you do tend to catch torpedoes in like the stern or stuff, you know. Anyways, detectability range by sea, 14.8 kilometers, completely stock is alright, it's acceptable. But where the Nelson really shines is one particular consumable. The freaking repair party. This repair party heals 1,188 HP per second over 20 seconds. The Nelson can come back from the dead a few times. If you do it right and you use all 4 charges, oh man, the Nelson can recover just astounding amounts of HP. When enemy teams think they've got you, they've got you, you can just be like, nah, boop, and you come right back. Although, of course, this does apply to, light damage and things like that, and not really Citadel hits or torpedo hits. So if you take torpedo or Citadel hits, life's gonna suck for you. However, you can be a complete fire magnet. So, all those cruisers that spam HE, you just be like, yes, hit me harder. Yes, for all those fireproof medals. Because that's really what you are going to be doing with the Nelson. You're going to be farming Dreadnought and fireproof all day long, every day of the week. Upgrades wise, very self-explanatory. I would say get something like Main Armaments Mod 1, then go ahead and get Aiming Systems Mod 1, and then of course you'd probably want to get Damage Control System Mod 1. You still don't want to make the fires too easy, but still fires are fine. And of course the little bit of extra torpedo protection I think is probably going to be useful, because 19% is really quite abysmal. And then of course get Steering Gears Mod 2, because hey, you want to be able to maneuver just a little bit faster. In terms of captain skills, well, the first 10 points are reasonably simple with the Nelson. Priority target or preventative maintenance, your call. Then Adrenaline Rush, and then Superintendent, because extra heal charge, that's like life with the ship. And then of course go Concealment Expert, because you don't want to be pounded from everywhere at long range, right? You want to be able to get in there a little bit closer. Once you get past those, the remaining 9 points, well, really up to you. I mean, you could in theory buff the Abysmal AA a little bit more. You could always go for a little bit more survivability, maybe fire prevention to minimize your fire damage. You could get things like, high alert. You could get things like jack of all trades, right? A little bit more survivability. You could definitely offer expert marksman, because hey, you always want your guns to traverse a little bit faster. This is really sort of up to you, and depending on what you want out of your ship. But yeah, the first 10 points are quite self-explanatory. Alright, so that's everything I can do in port. Let's take a look at how she performs in battle. Alright, so onto the battle, and here I'm playing Nelson on the Shards map. Now, do forgive me, there's gonna be a couple times in this battle where I'm gonna 100% potato aim, but it's my first couple of games in a while, and there's a bit of rust to be shaken off. But anyways, okay, moving on. Something about the Nelson that, I do have to point out. She does have, again, that elevated Citadel, right? So, for me, I feel like the Nelson, she'll struggle a little bit more if you get into some of the higher tier battles. We run into some of those tier 8, tier 9 battleships, and the Nelson becomes a challenging ship to play, because, you can't show your sides unless, you want to get Citadeled, and just going bow in, or at least somewhat angled on the bow, it's still not good enough. You're going to get overmatched, and they're going to be able to penetrate that forward plate. So Nelson becomes a struggle in higher tier battles. However, if you are in a tier 7 battle, she is a really big bully. And by the way, Dispersion is actually quite nice, right? You do see semi-frequently with the Nelson blocks of shells, actual solid tight groupings. So that is definitely one of the things that the Nelson is quite good at. The other thing, of course, is keeping in mind that, the Nelson's heal is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, this is a battleship where if you have like 3 fires, it's kind of more like meh, whatever. 3 fires, all that means is you're going to be able to farm back more of that in a heal kind of. You're going to be farming fireproof a lot and dreadnoughts a lot with the higher tier Royal Navy battleships, because they're gonna have, I think, the same heal. And of course, if you have the Nelson, you're gonna be farming those things frequently. Anyhow, enemy ship over there in smoke and also behind a bit of island cover, making it a little bit annoying to shoot there. It's a Fiji, so I'm just gonna kind of back away from it for now. Wait for it to show itself before re-engaging, and there it is. It's shown itself. So just gonna get those guns back. And as you can see, running away and shooting backwards, the angles aren't that bad. The rearward facing angles are okay. So, they are definitely going to be workable if you're running away. So that's something, I think, for me, personally, that I actually do like about the Nelson. I'm not a huge fan of the Izumo's rearward arcs, but the Nelson's rearward arcs actually seem quite workable. So there we go, double Citadel on that Fiji, and the Fiji, I think, is pretty much going to die very, very soon here. I believe another Self is going to go in there and take him down. So, of course, I'm going to switch targets now and engage the Hood, thinking that, maybe a cruiser would have gone after that Fiji. I don't know, maybe it got away. Yeah, I think it got away. Darn it. I should have fired on it. Should have killed it. But anyways, okay. Firing on the Hood now. Hood's offering me a bit of a broadside. There you go. There's the Citadel. The Nelson's penetration isn't great, but it is still a battleship, right? And it's still battleship levels of penetration. Maybe not as good as the other ones, but it's going to be enough. And a lot of this, again, has to do with the fact that the penetration is scaled based on real world penetration. In real world, when you're engaging something like 10 kilometers away, the penetration numbers are still going to be okay. So Nelson, even though the penetration numbers, by the numbers, isn't great, when you actually go into battle, it is definitely workable. So that Hood is definitely going to disengage from me, not wanting to fight, and early on in the battle, already almost 70,000 damage. Turning my attention now to this Charles Martel, and I'm gonna start shooting at him as soon as my guns sort of turn around and get into proper positions. Not afraid of fires, right? And also look at the heal amount that I can get off, right? Right now I'm at like 31,000. Look at that huge chunk I can heal back. The Nelson is very capable of healing nice chunks of HP at once. Other thing, though, I forgot to mention is I actually forgot to load flags onto the ship. So if you actually had flags, do keep in mind that if you had flags, the ship will actually perform that much better, right? The speed's going to be a bit better. The heal's going to be a little bit better. And you should be able to minimize, exposure to fire and flooding, so on and so forth. And there we go. Look at that. Nice chunky heal. Back up to 47,800, back into the green range. Continue to run away from the Hood Charles Martel. Again, don't want to go charging in there, because against the cruiser with torpedoes, your weak torpedo protection, it's not going to do you any favors, right? Alright, so Hood's pretty damaged right now, 7,500 HP left, so turning my attention back to this cruiser that's hiding behind the island here. Unless Hood gets out into the open again, I'll shoot the Hood first, but see what happens here. Trying to get around this island. There is an island between me and the Charles Martel right now. Trying to get around. Oh, there's one part in particular I want to show you, which is just kind of a... the thing about the Nelson is that she really does do very well as almost like I mentioned earlier, like a fire HE magnet. Like you let other people shoot you, and you tank all the fire damage for your team. Alright, so there's one fire. Come on, this Charles is going to set a bunch of fires. I'm just not going to care. I actually don't care about fires. And there's a second one. Hold up, hold up. I actually invited fires. I'm like, you know what? It's okay. Set me on fire so I can heal it all back. Okay, maybe this is just me also in the testing mode, just to see, how much I was actually able to heal back. Come on now. Keep shooting at me, Charles. So... remember those secondary guns? Yeah, in this kind of scenario when you're running away, they do sort of fire a little bit. So you do get a couple of, shells. Alright, there it goes. There's 3 fires now. I'm burning down, burning down, burning down. There you go. I'm in the red now, right? There you go. There's the repair and there's the heal. Had I had a heal flag, I would have healed even more than this, right? And you can see that the heal is coming back up in like nice large chunks. Again, getting those guns around and fire. See? Dispersion is actually not bad, right? And there we go. That's a nice chunk of damage there. Believe I'm having a little bit of backup there. Yep, there's a cruiser coming to help me out against this Charles Martel. I'm pretty sure this cruiser's going to take care of him. And waiting for it, waiting for it. And still waiting for it. Come on now, come on now. There you go. That salvo should get it. There you go. Charles Martel done. So my main gun's having now properly reloaded, turning my attention back onto this hood. The hood is somewhat angled, so I get 2 turrets out first. The last turret, I'm going to just wait a little bit more. There you go. That salvo out, and there we go. There's kill number 1 for me. Yay, 95,000 damage later. Again, in the red for HP, down to like 12,000 something. And of course, you can see with that great chunk how much I can heal back. The Nelson is one of those ships that is going to keep coming back from the dead, assuming that you're not taking massive citadel or torpedo damage. If you do, Nelson doesn't last very long. She really takes a lot of torpedo damage. And the other problem, of course, that I found with her is that, you know, if you eat citadels, because you're not angled properly or whatnot, if you eat that citadel damage, you're going down very, very quickly, because you're not going to heal back much from citadel damage. And it really hurts. So, yeah, I mean, that's the Nelson's big flaw for me. You know, when I was running into, on occasion, those high-tier battles against, you know, Alabamas or, like, North Carolinas and Iowas and things like that, it was just like, this is painful. This is legitimately painful, because those ships, they can bow onto you and be completely immune to you, while there's almost nothing you can do really sort of angling-wise. You can sort of do a little bit of belt tanking, you know, using your angled belt armor to bounce shells, but still ate a lot of damage. I mean, that was my overall sort of feel with the Nelson, is that, like, against those higher tier battleships, there's just no real way to protect yourself. Again, nice, tight dispersion. That is one of the things I do like about the Nelson, though. That nice block of shells that you get, which means that if you play her correctly, you are able to get good amounts of damage. And especially against cruisers, you are going to be able to land those nice salvos. I mean, on more than a few occasions, I've nuked cruisers, like, right off the bat. Sometimes you do have the iffy moments. Like, I've had one here, I think, or like somewhere in this battle, where I'm like, yeah, I should have this, and then it's just like, nope, you just got 2 pens. But all in all, I do have to say the Nelson's dispersion is pretty reasonable. It's actually quite reliable in terms of being able to get shells onto target. So for those of you who really do sort of value having good dispersion, good salvos, yeah, the Nelson, I think, will make you quite happy. See, nice consistent salvo. Okay, yeah, there's like 1 or 2 there that's gone a little bit off. See, that one! 2 penetrations. That should have... Okay, that chappie should have died. I had him. But sometimes it, you know, the game does do its thing. You know, you get a little bit of RNG and it's like, no, not happening. Okay. This ship here, the North Carolina, is one that I would actually be scared of. Now, had this North Carolina captain been somewhat competent, I think I would have been in trouble. But his attention was somewhere else, as you can tell. Crappy penetration, supposedly, but you're still able to do okay if you're at those slightly sort of closer mid-ish ranges, right? So you're still going to be able to do okay. They're still battleship guns. Against other guns, maybe not as good, but they work. Alright, attention turns over to the destroyer immediately, of course. Generally speaking, battleship AP does fine against destroyers, so you see a destroyer, just pop it, see what happens. You know, you drop its HP down a bunch, and destroyer's not going to be in a happy place, right? Okay, North Carolina still not paying me any attention at all. And this is, you know, what I was trying to say. Like, had that North Carolina actually paid attention to me, yeah, I think I would have been a bit more trouble too, to be honest. But instead, nope, okay. Surviving. That destroyer got off torpedoes, so there we go. Didn't make the turn. Again, this is the thing that scares me as a Nelson player, torpedoes. Because you have so little ability to mitigate torpedo damage. It really does. It hurts. It hurts. It really does. Alright. One fire, I'm okay with just letting it burn a little bit right now. It's okay, because I know I'm going to be able to get it back with that heal, so I'm not in a rush, anything like that, to put out some fires. That will be a thing with the Nelson if you play her, that you're not in that rush, right? Unlike some of the other ships, you like, 2 fires, right, gonna pop damage control, or like 3 fires, immediately pop damage control. Nelson, you're like, that's okay. Let it go for a little bit longer, and I'll just farm up some fireproof. I think that's really what the ship's purpose is. While the Missouri's purpose was to print credits, this one is just to print Dreadnought and fireproof achievements. Therefore, getting you those flags as well, if you need more of those. Okay, so that darn Fiji, right? That's the one I think I hit earlier. Well, somebody finally got him after a very long time. And that's it. The enemy team only has this Atago and a Ganai now left. And, well, the Ganai is... It's going to start running really, really soon. Trying to get to the wee corners of the map. So, of course, engaging the Atago first. Noting that, of course, the Atago is in that retreating posture on an IJN cruiser, which usually is one of those, hey, watch out for torpedoes. Now, yes, I know Atago has the forward, spread of torpedoes as well, but generally speaking, if you see an IJN cruiser start turning away like that, immediate red flag that torpedoes potentially are on the way, so make sure you get into some sort of evasive torpedo dodging maneuver, right? Alright, so potato aiming right now. Okay, 2-pen hit there. Still not getting that Citadel hit, waiting for that one to happen. See, a lot of times when you're like bow rushing in, you're still using only the 4-2 guns. It's only when, the opportunity presents itself do you go ahead and use that third turret. Okay, now this one should be good. Come on. Nope. Nope, a little bit more on the vertical dispersion. Horizontal is actually very nice. By the way, I'm coming in to save the Cleveland. Yay, let's save him. Push him out of the way of that torpedo. There you go. Saved. I saved awesome sauce. There you go. That's important, right? Okay, so Atago turning back in again. Don't know what he's doing. He's just turning circles, but this salvo here, bam, there is the Citadel. All right, so 157,000 damage, and we've got this battle firmly in the bag. Ganai is running away as quickly as possible. I think he's definitely trying to run away from us. So while I chase this Ganai at my somewhat slow speed, final thoughts on the Nelson. Is she worth the free experience? Hard question to answer, and my biggest, I guess, concern is the fact that her armor is not the most fun if you get into those like tier 8 and 9 battles. But then again, which tier 7 battleship really has fun in those battles anyways? All their armor configurations are somewhat vulnerable. So if you can get over that and you enjoy the fact that her firepower is all forward and that her dispersion is quite good, and she has that ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous heal. I mean, just the Nelson's heal, my goodness. That heal's ridiculous. But if you like what you see so far and you want to accumulate more dreadnoughts and fireproof flags and so on and so forth, yeah, I think she's a workable and at times pretty good battleship. Do keep in mind that citadels and torpedoes are absolutely lethal. And if you take too many of those, you're not going to be having a good day. So that's kind of the thoughts on the Nelson so far. Yes, I did mention that I have some rust, and this is some potato aim. This was me last night going, geez, I can't aim for crap anymore. But this Ganai is going to cooperate, and it, for some reason, decided that, yeah, going to turn the ship around. Okay. So, full broadside, of course, this is going to make for an easy salvo, and I'm going to be able to pick up, and firing HE this Ganai. Oh well. Alright, shells landing, yes, in glorious slow motion too, and there is kill number 3.
Final results screen here, 161,570 damage, 4 Citadel hits there, 3 ships sunk, 5,237 experience, 262 free, and 545,000 credits earned. Base experience 2,327, which is definitely not bad if you are playing a battleship. The Sims on our team was Crazy Hero though, 2,937. Wow, good experience there for him. And take a look at the most important stat here, the damage received, 112,561. That is how much damage I was able to absorb and still survive. Crazy, crazy ship, crazy zombie abilities, and total credits earned pretty reasonable, just under 500,000. Anyways, folks, that does it for the preview of the Nelson. Are you excited about the ship? Do you look forward to getting your hands on this crazy zombie heel? And what are your other thoughts about the ship? Let me know in the comment section below. Aside from all that, folks, take care, have yourselves a good one, and I'll talk to all of you again soon.